we have this man, Gibson Nash, who is currently being arrested and charged for the first degree murder of his very own mother. And it all happened during a mental health violent outburst, which looks like he's used to having.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. This seems like it's a daily event this week. I want to introduce you to a difference maker, to a mother, to a nurse. I want to introduce you to Margaret Dufour. She's 56 years of age, and this is an award she got for being a difference maker. She was a registered nurse, and she helped a lot of people along the way in her profession. And she had a son that had some significant issues, and she moved from Knoxville, Tennessee to Florida. She not only moved to Florida, she moved to Polk County. She not only moved to Polk County, she moved to Eagle Lake in a brand new house. And she had been an employee of Bartow Regional Hospital as a registered nurse for about a month. She'd lived in her new house about a month. She was assigned to the surgery floor. And here's the interesting part. We got a disturbance call at the house when she was moving in, because apparently the movers tried to upcharge her or charge her more money. So deputies were sent and immediately were able to calm down the disturbance. The movers left in a huff because they didn't get what they wanted, apparently. And our deputies actually helped her move into her new house. That's the kind of customer service our deputies do. Now, there was no fanfare over that. In fact, we just discovered that when she moved in, that we helped her move the boxes in after the disturbance with the movers on July 21st. So how did we discover that on July 21st? Well, here's how we found that out. Here's Margaret's vehicle. Margaret's vehicle is a 2022 BMW. So if you look to see, you say, my goodness, new house, 2022 BMW, registered nurse, things are going real well in life. And suspiciously, we receive a call. And we receive a call about a hit and run crash that happened on Highway 27 North, just about the Ridgewood Lakes development. Well, the hit and run involved this vehicle. The first hit and run, the lady pulled in behind the driver of this vehicle to try to exchange information, and he wouldn't exchange information, and he drove off. And then he was involved in crash number 2. And he ran from that crash. And for reasons unknown, the driver in her vehicle crashed when they crossed over the center line and hit another vehicle. EMS and fire responded, and the driver was unconscious. It was a significant crash, but it was like, why is he unconscious? And this is who they found, Gibson Nash. But they didn't know who he was. He's unconscious. He's got blood on his hands. And the paramedic thinks, this is not a bloody kind of crash. Where did the blood come from? But anyway, they take him to Lakeland Regional Hospital immediately as a trauma alert and have no idea why he's in the condition he is. So the deputies, this all starts about 7 o'clock in the morning on July 21st, which is a Tuesday. Deputies start their investigations. They run the tag number And she's appropriately re-registered her vehicles, and it says that it's at this house in Eagle Lake, Florida. The deputies come there and they knock and they knock and they knock and no one answers. They determine that obviously it's Margaret Dufour's residence, registered, that's who the vehicle's registered to, and they do some more research and call the hospital, and they said, no, she's not working today. So by now it's about 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Gibson is unconscious. They have since found some paperwork on him, but now they're wondering where Margaret is. She won't answer the door. So our deputies are looking around the house, and one of them lifts a floor mat up at the front door and finds the key, unlocks the door, and goes in. As our deputies enter the front door of the house, they look immediately to the left in a bedroom which is set up as an office, and there's Margaret, stomped into a bloody puddle in the middle of the floor.
By her own son. This is a crazy situation. Like they said, he suffered from mental health illnesses and different disorders. But to stomp your mom to a bloody pulp? God, let's keep going though.
Obviously deceased. So as you can imagine, all kinds of bells and whistles go off at the sheriff's office. And we go, whoa, we've got more than what we thought occurring here. Well, of course, we determined that Gibson Nash, who's 21, is the son of Margaret. He's 6'2" and weighs 218 pounds. He's a big guy. And it turns out he's a very dangerous guy. So our detectives start the investigation, and we learn that the reason she has just moved from Knoxville was to try to get Gibson Nash more help, because he's apparently bipolar, he's schizophrenic, he may be autistic.
Jeez.
And she wanted to get into the state of Florida. She thought there would be better mental health help, and to get him away from the environment. You see, he was well known to the Knoxville law enforcement authorities. On several occasions, there was 911 calls, and Gibson had been arrested up there. He'd been arrested up there on one occasion with a 911 call on the 6th of April, where Margaret had called from a smoke shop. She had gone into a smoke shop, locked the door, dialed 911, and said, "My son attacked me last night. He's in the car, and I'm afraid. I'm locked in the smoke shop. He assaulted me this morning. The only way I got him to calm down was I agreed to come to the smoke and vape shop." Law enforcement arrived and found out that he had, in fact, threatened her with a knife on the night of the 5th. So they arrested him. He got out of jail in Knoxville. Then there was another disturbance on April 29th where he pulled a knife on his mother and threatened her again and said, you know what will happen. And this was over not being able to play on the Xbox. So he threatened to kill her again. Then she moves to Florida, and she goes back to Knoxville, and she bonds him out of jail on the charges and brings him home.
I don't know about y'all, but I don't think you can help all family. Yes, it's her son. Yes, he didn't ask to be here. I think there are some problems that are bigger than one person can handle. He sounds like he should have been locked up. Maybe not in jail, but maybe in a mental hospital. Because that is just insane. He attacks you, threatens you with a knife. You still bond him out. I can't do anything for you. That would have been my first thought. I can't do anything for you. I can't help you. I can't even protect myself from you. You have to go to a mental hospital. And they will come and force him out. This is a tragic situation. Let's keep going.
Now, about 4 or 4:30 in the morning, one of the neighbors hears a disturbance next door and hears a couple of thuds. Doesn't think anything of it, looks outside, doesn't see anybody, and goes about their way. And then we have the 3 crashes. Well, he stole his mother's car and he fled. And when he had the 3rd crash, he was unconscious. Well, we learn after he gets to the hospital in a series of tests, he's in liver failure. He apparently has overdosed on Tylenol. So Lakeland Regional transfers him to Tampa General. He's unconscious all of this time. They do an evaluation. He starts to improve. They send him back to Lakeland Regional. We take his clothes and his shoes, where there's blood all over them, and send that to a lab and receive DNA results that it is, in fact, Gibson's mother's blood all over his shoes. The medical examiner says she died from blunt force injury, from a beating, and from being strangled to death. She was violently murdered at the hands of Gibson Nash. That explains the blood that the paramedics saw at the scene of the crash that was not a blood type crash. That explains all of the blood on Gibson's shoes that morning in this crash that otherwise should not have revealed any blood. It was his mother's, where he choked her and strangled her and kicked her and tortured her and killed her.
And you know what the craziest thing? The craziest thing is that it's a possibility he gets not guilty by reason of mental insanity. And with enough care, he'll be back on the streets. That when they say that he's no longer a threat to society, they say it was just a one-time incident. He has a possibility to be back on the streets. It's absolutely crazy, y'all. Let's keep going.
His dad came from California, hired him a lawyer. Lawyer says, "Oh, you can't talk to him." Fortunately for us, he made some admissions without being interviewed. But here's the deal. She had a new house. She had a new job. She was a wonderful lady. She was a great mother. She would not give up on him, even after he'd threatened to kill her and pulled knives on her and hit her and attacked her. Ladies and gentlemen, we have photographs of progressive bruising on Gibson's hands and feet. Remarkable bruising on his knuckles and on his feet from where he kicked and stomped and beat his mother. It's one of the most personally violent murders we've seen in a very long time.
I think sometimes you have to give up. I mean, maybe give up is not the right word, but constantly being abused by your own child, of course they suffer mental health issues, and that plays a part into it. but you get threatened with death, and then you still bail him out. At some point, you have to say enough is enough. It's a tragic situation. Absolutely tragic. Let's keep going. Finish it up.
But I want you to see a nurse, a helper, a mother who never gave up on her son. And it cost her her life.
That is the truest definition of a mother, if anybody ever said one. Never giving up on her son or children in general. Let's get over into the AI breakdown, y'all, to break this all down, because this is a lot of craziness. So as we know, Gibson Nash, 21, was arrested on August 3rd for this first-degree murder of his 56-year-old mother, Margaret, following a brutal attack at her home in Eagle Lake, Florida. So the medical examiner determined that she died from blunt force trauma, a severe beating, and strangulation. They said it was a mix of pure rage and extreme violence. Deputies responded on July 21st to a series of hit and runs, crashes involving a vehicle registered to her. When they went to her home and to conduct a welfare check, they discovered her body inside. Paramedics and deputies noted that Nash had blood on his hands, clothes, and boots, despite the vehicle crash not being severe enough to cause bleeding. The DNA tested showed that it was his mother. Following the crash, Nash was hospitalized at Lakeland's Regional Hospital and placed on a ventilator. He was suffering from severe liver failure due to the intentional overdose of Tylenol taken prior to the crash. On August 3rd, his liver function improved enough for the medical staff to take him off sedation and extubate him. You know I'm not good at my words. At which point he was formally arrested. So Margaret was a registered nurse who recently moved to Knoxville for her son to get him better care. Nash has a documented history of mental illness, including diagnosis with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, potential autism spectrum disorder. And he had a long history of violent outbursts. He had been arrested multiple times for domestic violence in Tennessee, including a recent April 2026 incident where he threatened his mother with a knife. She driven to Tennessee to bond him out of jail on July 14th, just 1 week before she was killed. Nash remains under direct supervision and custody of the Polk County Sheriff's Office while remaining hospitalized. As soon as his medical professionals formally clear him for release, he will be transported and booked into the Polk County Jail on charges of first-degree murder. Nash's father has retained a private attorney to handle the case. Wow. This is a crazy situation, y'all. But at what point should you give up on your children? That might be bad to say, but in this case, I think she should have given up. Or maybe not given up, or let someone more experienced handle it. But at what point do you step away and say that this is too much for you to handle? It's a tragic case, y'all, but let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. It's absolutely tragic.